Archery Talk, this is Lucas, and today it's time for one of my favorite videos of the year, the best hunting bow draw cycle. So I have got 6 bows in this year so far for the 2025 Archery Talk Hunting Bow Shootout, and I have got them all set up for shooting in this draw cycle video. All of them are set up at 70 pounds of draw weight and 30 inches of draw length. And if the bows have more than one kind of setup option, I'm choosing the most comfortable version of that draw of all these available. So, you know, the Bowtech has the comfort mode and the performance mode. The Darton has a speed mod and a regular mod. So I'm gonna talk about all these with their best attributes. That's the whole goal here. As I've mentioned many times in my videos, draw cycle is priority number 1 for me when choosing any bow. If the bow is not comfortable to shoot, I'm going to shoot a different bow. That's just how I'm operating. And also, I am not normally shooting these bows at 70 pounds. I kind of do that for the testing for these bows, for the videos, but for my personal use, I'm shooting these at like 65 pounds. That is my sweet spot for hunting bows. Again, I'm not a real big guy. I'm long and I'm thin, and so a 65-pound bow is not hurting me at all. And I'd rather save my shoulders than try to hoist up heavier and heavier bows. You'll not be seeing any 80-pound speed test on this channel, I assure you. With that in mind, let's go look at these bows ranked from my least favorite to my absolute favorite draw cycles. So the bow with the draw cycle that I found the harshest this year was, quite frankly, the BCH Proven 34 in performance mode. That was the fastest bow I shot this year by a good stretch, so it's no surprise that it ended up there. But in this video, I'm kind of focusing on the bows in their comfort settings. So the Bowtech and the Darton are both kind of set to their comfort settings for this video, at least that's the theory. So just keep that in mind. So I'm only looking at the bows as good as I can get them. And with that in mind, let's start at number 6 on my list. And that is going to be the Xlite 32. And that's a bit of a surprise because I really, really like this bow when I shot it at the ATA show. And I still really like the bow. It's plenty quick. It didn't perform the best on the speed test, but I don't know, it's a nice feeling bow. It's relatively quiet after the shot. It's just maybe a touch stiff here right through the last part of that draw cycle. Letdown is a little aggressive. This bow does have a rated speed of, I think, 342 feet per second. It did not perform like that on my speed test, but you can look in the video I shot last week. But overall, the bows are all very close. Like in their comfort settings, there's only 8 feet a second separating the top from the bottom. So the draw cycles are relatively close. So someone else will almost assuredly not have this bow in 6th position. They might have it in 2nd or 3rd or even 1st. But for me, the Xlite's going to finish 6th. In 5th place is going to be the Mathews LyftX 33. And this is another bow that on another day could easily be in the top 2 or 3 for a lot of people, and including me, because I've been enjoying shooting this bow. I've had this bow longer than any other bow this year. I've been shooting it primarily at 65 pounds. I've put it at 70. I have all these bows at 70 pounds. That's how I set them up for the speed test. And I kind of kept them to that weight. And so that's not really where somebody of my stature likes to shoot bows, but that's where we're at today anyway. And so the LyftX is not, again, it's still a nice draw cycle for a 70-pound bow. Maybe just a little stiffer than some of the Mathews I've shot in prior years. I do love this 33-inch axle length. That's really nice. Letdown is pretty solid. This is the highest rated speed of any bow I've shot this year. And then it doesn't have like comfort setting. This is the fastest bow as currently set up right now with the other bows in their comfort setting. So it's a speedy bow. It's, again, as all Mathews have been lately, it's pretty quiet after the shot. Just maybe a little stiffer than some other Mathews bows I've shot recently, but maybe it's just me getting older and not quite as strong as I used to be. After the shot, though, it really does feel fantastic. In 4th place, we've got the Elite Hunter 33, and this bow has kind of proven itself to be a pretty solid competitor this year. This is the least expensive bow I've got by quite a stretch. It's missing some of Elite's kind of higher technology. It doesn't have set technology on there, which is one of the main reasons the price is down on this bow. But it was relatively fast with the chronograph. Again, it's got a nice stable axle-to-axle length of 33 inches. I really quite like this bow. And the draw cycle is, it's typical Elite. It's compared to the first 2 bows I've looked at already. It's a little easier to let down off the top. And it's, you know, it feels pretty nice after the shot, but maybe a little stiffer than the other ones ahead of it, but just by the slightest of margins. The bows at this point are getting very, very close together. In third place for me is going to be the new Prime Form. This is proving to be one of my favorite bows to shoot this year. I love how lightweight it is. You know, this riser, which has nothing to do with draw cycle, by the way. It took a little bit of getting used to visually, but I quite like it at this point. And Prime has a history, at least in my books, of making fantastic drawing bows. And the prior 2 years, Prime finished first or second in draw cycle, I think. Maybe even first both years, I can't exactly recall, but it's done really well in my books. And it's doing really well again. Again, you could easily have this as your number 1 or number 2 bow. I wouldn't have any complaints if you did that. But for me, it might be just not quite as linear as with the Prime. It's still a very easy bow to draw back. And the letdown is maybe the easiest of any of these bows. So that's a nice sign from Prime. It doesn't feel, at least the draw is maybe not quite as linear to me, even though it's got the same cams as last year's bow, but I don't know, there's a slightly different feel in my books. I do like the axle length a lot. It holds on target great. I love how lightweight it is. And it's battling the Matthews for the best feeling bow after the shot. In second spot for me is going to be the BCH Proven 34 in comfort mode. I mean, I love the fact that BCH gives you that flip disc technology that allows you to switch from comfort to performance, however you like it. I mentioned earlier that the performance setting was probably my least favorite draw cycle. Not probably, it was definitely my least favorite draw cycle of the year. But in comfort mode, it's an entirely different animal. And the versatility of these bows really makes them stand apart. This was the slowest bow when the comfort mods are on there, so that's, you know, there's no surprise that that's at or near the top of the draw cycle charts when you think of it that way. But it's a very smooth and easy draw cycle. Letdown is maybe not quite as easy as the Prime or even the Elite, but the draw itself just feels, I don't know, it feels fantastic to me. I'm really, really pleased with what BCH has done with the Proven 34 this year, especially with the comfort modes. I don't think I would shoot the performance modes on my own if I wasn't running through speed tests or things like that. I would be in comfort all day because it just feels better to me. It's maybe a hair louder after the shot than some of the other bows, but that's negligible differences. In first place for me is going to be the Darton Sequel 35 ST2 in its kind of more comfort setting. This bow has got different mods for a performance mode or a comfort mode. There's about a 5 feet per second difference in speed when you do that. I've actually currently got the performance mods on here, I've been switching them back and forth. I would think the performance mods would kind of probably put this more towards like 4th or 5th place, but the comfort setting, the comfort mods on here, or the standard mods, I guess they would call them on here, are absolutely fantastic. I just didn't want to switch them out again for this video, but I've been really enjoying shooting the new Sequel 35. This is the bow I've gotten in most recently, and so I've shot it a lot in the recent weeks. So maybe it's got a bit of recency bias going its way. Because I really do like shooting this bow, and especially with those standard mods on it. And they're both of them are plenty quick. Darton's got some good secret sauce. This was, I think I had this in my number 2 bow at the ATA show this year. And I had the Sequel, the earlier version of the Sequel as my number 1 bow at the ATA show in 2024. Like, I've been a big fan of these Darton bows. I'm loving the fact that they've sent me one this year. It's the first time they've sent me one for testing. And the draw cycle, even in the performance mode, is really nice and smooth. There's no hump over a valley. It feels great. It's in the speed mods they've got on here, it's a little more aggressive to let down, but overall, the Sequel 35 is a fantastic feeling bow. And I'm very happy to see it number 1 on my favorite draw cycle of the year, at least so far. I do have a couple more bows potentially coming in. We'll talk about that in the coming weeks. For now, Archery Talk, thank you so much for watching. Please do like, share, and subscribe. It helps the channel an awful lot, and we'll see you soon.